I might be falling deep. 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 Tell me now what you need. I've been going too hard. When I believe I might be falling deep. I might be falling deep. I might be falling
Hello, my name is Jenny and I'm from Casa Mirna.
And I'm Sanye and I'm with Beat the Odds.
Welcome to Red Flags and Roses, where we discuss the highs and lows of being in a relationship. And on board we have Nick, who is also from BTO.
So how y'all doing today?
Now, before we introduce our special guest, we want to start our conversation off with the hot topic of the day. So Nick, what do you have for us?
So the hot topic of the day is sneaky links. Have you guys ever been in a sneaky link or a sneaky relationship?
I've never been in a sneaky link before, but trust me when I say this, a lot of my friends have. And I feel like if I were to be in a sneaky link in the future, I feel like I'm 18 all over again. I feel like sneaky links are more prevalent in like our modern society and especially in like the younger generation. So if I were to be in one, I'll feel like I'm 18 again. And what about you, Nick? Have you ever been in a sneaky link? Have you ever had a sneaky link?
Hey man, if I say too much, it won't be sneaky.
You know what? Completely valid. So let's get started with the show. Our special guest today is Carmen Blyden. She is a confidence and wellness coach, a motivation speaker, and a founder of Heal with Carmen B. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what is your superpower?
Well, hello, everyone, and thank you for this opportunity. Super excited to be here in this beautiful space with you. As you said, my name is Carmen, and I am a confidence and wellness coach, teaching women how to just break free from self-fear and doubt so they can show up as their most authentic self. But I also do this work with young people in schools and community centers, teaching confidence and wellness workshops. And my superpower is confidence.
You know what?
That's a great superpower.
Yeah, that is a very great answer. All right, so can you give us a little bit more insight? You talked about being the founder of Heal with Carmen B. So let's tell us a little bit more about that.
Yes. So HEAL stands for Healthy Energy Actively Living, which is really moving from an unhealthy state to a much healthier state in your life where you can become, when you start living, right? When you heal your mind, your body, your soul, you move different, you think different, you act different, you interact with people in a different way. And I began Heal with Carmen B from my own healing journey, learning how to love myself, learning how to trust myself. And the more I poured into me, the more confident I became in the woman that I am, regardless of what my past experiences have been, because often your past experiences with pain or trauma will crush your confidence, will crush your self-esteem. So making a conscious decision to heal from that supported me in becoming the woman I am today. And now I'm teaching others how to do the same.
That's genuinely beautiful.
Absolutely. I love the acronym and what it stands for. And talking about like past traumas and other things that like shape who you are today, I think that's very important in relationships. So let's talk a little bit about relationships. And what do you have on like what do you think about the concept of sneaky links?
Well, everyone has their own opinion around sneaky links, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. I think when it comes to sneaky links is what feels good for you. What feels good for you? What feels good for the person you're involved with? As for me, it's not something I do today, but when I was a young person, I was the sneakiest. You know what I mean? I was out here, I was doing my thing, but I was living my best life, right? And so I don't regret any of my decisions around what would be considered a sneaky link. I mean, there's many reasons why a person would engage in a sneaky link. So I think first and foremost, asking yourself, why am I choosing this, and making sure that you're comfortable with that decision, making sure it's a healthy decision for you, and then making that decision, again, based on what feels good for you. So I don't think it's a good thing or a bad thing. I think it's about the individual.
Absolutely. You said that wonderfully. And that was actually a little surprising because I think a lot of people have in their minds the concept that sneaky links are necessarily bad, but you're absolutely right. Like whatever is most comfortable for you, go out and explore that. Okay, so you talked a little bit also about like traumas. So in sneaky links and just relationships in general, there's like warning signs. So like what is your type of like concept around warning signs in like relationships, and like what should like people watch out for?
Well, I think the first thing that's most important is knowing who you are, right? When you're engaging in relationships, often your relationships and the way you engage in relationships is based on what you've seen, right? Or based on what you heard or what your friends are doing. And that may not necessarily align with your authentic self. So some people may engage in sneaky links because it's the thing, like, oh, everybody's doing it, even though it doesn't necessarily feel like, I don't know if I really want to do it, but you know, it seems to be like the thing to do. So it's really one, asking yourself, is this who I am? Is this how I want to be? Is this how I want to show up? Does this align with the person I desire to be in the future, right? Does it align with the type of relationships I want to engage in? Do I want these short-term sneaky link relationships, or am I looking for something more deeper and meaningful, right? And so I think those are the questions to ask yourself. That way, when you do interact or engage with someone, and if they're saying, well, this is all I want, and you're saying, this is what I want, immediate red flag. That's not your person, right? And so one, it's being on the same page, but as long as that page aligns with who you are authentically. Some people will move forward with the relationship because that person looks good, right? Or I like them, or they, you know, they said nice things to me and I feel good when I'm with them. However, we don't align. And that's the hard part, right? And that's what self-love truly is making those really hard decisions for yourself that make you feel good about yourself and who you are, that no matter how challenging it was to say no to that sneaky thing, right? You was able to say, I don't feel like being sneaky, right? I want something I could put out in the open. I want something that I could scream from the mountaintops, this is my love, and I don't have to sneak around. It doesn't mean that that person is a bad person. It's just not your person, right? And I think those are a lot of the things that young people miss and end up in unhealthy situations, because you'll say to yourself, well, if I get with him or her and they really like me, eventually they'll like me enough to no longer be a sneaky link. However, that person already told you we sneaky, right? And if that does not turn out the way you're hoping it will turn out, you'll find yourself in a depressive state, feeling really sad, crushed self-esteem, because it's like this person is telling you, I don't want you like that, but I like your body, right?
Yeah, it's like giving your energy to someone, and
Right.
like it's almost like you're investing them, but like for a relationship and like a long-term thing. But sometimes maybe that's just like not your person. Like
Right.
you may look cute, but like what about the personality, which is like the internal things. And I absolutely agree. Like a lot of people these days might feel like peer pressured into like, you know, sneaky links or whatever. And sometimes maybe you're just really interested in like trying new things and like experimenting, like what's right for me, what am I truly
Right.
looking for. And like the only way to learn is through trying out. I
Right.
absolutely agree with you on that one.
So I have a question. Have you ever had to tell someone that all you wanted was a sneaky link?
Absolutely.
Why was that?
Absolutely. So when I was younger, I knew that I did not want to be tied down. One, I was dope. I'm still dope, but I was so dope. And like, you know, wherever I went, it was like, oh, I was like, ooh, to you too. You know, so it was one, I didn't want to hurt people's feelings. So I let you know straight up, like, this is what it is. So don't catch feelings, right? For me, honesty is the best policy, right? And so it's not, some people are not going to receive it well. Some people will take your no personal. It's not your business, right? It's not your business how people take your no. It's, this is what it is, take it or leave it, right? So that's
100%.
what it is.
What would you say is like the point of like a sneaky link in that sense then?
So again, that's personal, right? Like the point of a sneaky link varies on person, right? Some people may say, I'm not ready to be in a long-term relationship, but I really enjoy being with you and how it feels when I'm with you. So I want to get high with you often, right? Others may feel afraid of commitment and feel like, hey, having these short-term relationships are easier than long-term commitment because I don't even know if I can do a long-term relationship. I've never seen a healthy relationship. I haven't seen it in my home. I haven't seen it amongst my friends. So I'm afraid to give all of myself. So I'll only give part of myself and only accept part of someone else.
Do you feel like that, like sneaky link is the only definition or term for that kind of relationship? Because it sounds like you can have like a private relationship, or you can have like a friends with benefits, but it feels like sneaky link has like a certain connotation around it where it's like we are doing something, like as Jenny has said, like there's a feeling of like not privacy per se, but like a like hiding in a sense, or at least that's kind of the way I interpret it. Yeah. And so I wonder, is there another terminology that we could put to it? Because it feels like sneaky links is something more specific, whereas what you're saying, it feels like it's something that could be generalized in another context. Is there like another word that we could use for it?
That's new. This a new generation term, right? I'm an old lady. You know what I'm saying? Old fine lady, but I'm an old lady. You know what I'm saying?
I would disagree, actually. Like, honestly, you look very young to me, and like,
yeah. But I mean, when I was younger, I think it was just friends with benefits, right? Like, that was all it was. Like, we cool and we do the do, right? I think when it comes to sneaking, the word sneaking alone can add challenging emotions to it. Because it's like, why you hiding me? Right? There's so many things that can come with why do we have to sneak? Even if we are friends that are having sex, why can't we be open about who we are and what? So one, again, is asking yourself, why are we sneaking again? Right? Who are we hiding from? Right? Yeah. I've been in sneaky link situations when I was in a relationship, right? So they knew why. You know why I'm hiding you. And you know why not to call this phone after 6:00. So it's having the understanding of one thing that is often missing in these relationships is conversation. Let's talk about what we're doing, why we're doing it, and what is our agreement, right? That doesn't happen because people don't want to be that level of human and that level of responsible.
And humans make mistakes sometimes.
Absolutely.
Like, you don't really know what you're doing. Like we said it previously, like you're experimenting. So like if you want to improve yourself as a person and like heal yourself for like the next relationship, what's your idea about like the concept of like healing yourself before loving others, or like healing your like self, finding yourself before you like go out there and explore or find your true love?
The first thing is a lot of people are challenged with embarking on that journey because they don't know they're lost, right? When you are constantly running and going and moving from one person to the other, you never have a moment to sit back and really think about, why am I making these decisions? How is it really impacting me emotionally, mentally, spiritually? When the only way to really begin that journey is to stop. Right? To just take a minute. So, I embarked on that journey and went on 2 years of abstinence, choosing not to date, not to have sex, not to be with anybody, because I realized I really needed that time and energy for myself. And the pandemic was so helpful because we couldn't go nowhere, right? we couldn't go nowhere. We had to sit with ourselves. When we're constantly running, we're outside of ourselves, never looking within, doing that deep inner thinking, right? Doing that evaluation of self, and that's what's required. People don't like to do that because they're afraid of what they might find. Right? They're afraid of their thoughts. They're afraid of the feelings that may come up that they're feeling about themselves, thinking that other people are thinking, oh, nobody loves you. No, you don't love you.
Yes.
Right? And so what is the only way to begin that healing journey is to stop for me. I just had this conversation with a young lady the other day who's been dating from one abusive relationship to another. I said, stop. Just stop. Right? Because once you have an opportunity to sit with yourself, sit with your thoughts and feel your emotions. Stop running from your emotions. Stop looking for someone to mask your emotions with sex and drinking and liquor and just a good time. Those are things that we use as Band-Aids to hide from what we're truly feeling. That's what I was going through for a long time until I took that time to sit with me and get really comfortable with who I really am. There's some ugly stuff, right, inside of us sometimes that we're really afraid of. But those are also the things that make us very beautiful. And once you're able to access both the things that don't feel good and the things that feel, you can bring them together and become so much more powerful in who you are as an individual. Then nobody can play with you no more.
I agree a million, bajillion, gazillion %. I think sometimes like the scariest thing to look at is the mirror. And I think like, oftentimes the fears that we believe we hold aren't actually even our own. Like when we look at the mirror, we're not really looking at it with our own eyes. We're looking at it with the eyes that were crafted for us.
That's right.
And not even really for us. Kind of like there's a saying, hurt people hurt people.
That's right.
And we were having a conversation earlier on about how like your surroundings could easily become an echo chamber. And the same sense, the same way how is information being passed is the same way how fear can also be reverberated throughout that echo chamber. And like, you're not really consciously like here with like, oh, you know, like these things that I'm saying to myself, it's coming from outside of myself. It's really like, especially when you don't have that moment to, or you're not giving yourself that moment. Cause I think that's also another part about it is like, sometimes we say I don't have the time to work out. I don't have the time to like take care of myself. That's just a 5-minute check-in with yourself. It does so much just to say like, yo, before I even get out of my bed right now, how am I feeling? Yep. How do I want my day to feel? Or how do I want my day to be? What's going on in my mind right now? Am I even ready to take on the day? Why not? Just like having that moment, but it feels like, and a lot of that obligation to continue onwards, it's really like outside of ourselves. So like, I guess a question that I would ask is like, what are some tips that you would share with the viewers in terms of how to kind of allow yourself that space with and for yourself? At any moment or specific moments, whatever the case may be, but just those moments to be with yourself and what to do in those moments.
Yeah. First and foremost, own your power. Own your power to create the life you desire. That starts with stop making excuses, right? Stop pointing fingers. Stop saying, I'm this way because my mom or because my dad or because, you know, the way society is. There are so many things in our life that are outside of our control, but the one thing that is your thoughts, right? Is your energy. So the moment you stop making excuses about why you're not, then you can start developing and creating solutions for where you're going, right? And that all starts with I, right? I is such a powerful word, right? I can, I will, I must, or I'm not doing it because right? Everything is I, right? I even tell people if you are experiencing something with someone, it's when this happened, it made me feel this way because right? Not because you did this. No, this is how I felt because right? And so it's owning your power, right? Owning your power to make that shift, understanding that you are solely responsible for yourself. In that responsibility, what will you do? You know, as a coach, the one thing I hear from everyone, I don't have time. I have this going on. And I always tell people, listen, God may have been stingy with a lot of things, right? We didn't all get the same amount of body, right? Hair, money, but he gave us all the same amount of time, right? He gave us all the same amount of time. So instead of saying, don't have time, I'm not making space, right? I'm not making space in my life for the things that matter the most, because it's easy to do things that don't matter. Scroll Instagram, hang out with your friends, lay in bed. Those things are easy. The reason we don't make space for the harder things is because they're hard. Yeah. Looking within is hard. Journaling, hard. Making space, get up, go to the gym, make time, hard. But these are all decisions that are about you, and you are worth hard things.
And you know what? Sometimes people like mistaken themselves, their true selves, and like put their true selves in other people and like see their reflection in the relationship, like a we situation. Like, we've done this, we can do this in the future. Not like I'm going to do this myself. This is who I am. They like see it as like, this is what we are. And like sometimes that leads to even like a more toxic relationship because you become too dependent on the other person. Yeah. And I feel like a lot of like media like encourages that now these days. For example, we see like Blueface and Christiana right now. It's like a very messy situation. And I feel like part of the reason is because she's very loyal and faithful for like what Blueface has done for her, but necessarily she hasn't like found herself and her self-worth yet. So like, what do you think about like the normalization of toxic relationships today and like just the media?
Well, you can never be more loyal to someone than you are to yourself, right? That's first and foremost. Nothing comes before me. My kids don't come before me. My mother don't come. Nobody comes before me. And I think once we realize that we have to stop putting other people before us, you realize how powerful you are. And so, you know, in relationships, this has been from the beginning of time. Oh, once you come together, you are one. No, right? You are two people, right? Separate. With separate emotions, goals, dreams, visions, and you are responsible for seeing through your goals and your visions, and that person is responsible for seeing through their goals and visions. What you do is support one another and seeing your goals through. How can I support you in being the best version of yourself? How can you support me in not how can I be better for you, right? Because the better you are for yourself, the better you can be for others, right? But also learning how to love and care for yourself, love on yourself, treat yourself like you are the baddest thing alive. You teach people how to treat you by how you treat yourself. If you treat yourself with love, honor, respect, then you'll receive that, right? That is the law of attraction. Right? You attract who you are. You also sometimes attract who you're not, right? When you're attractive, when you're shiny, people like shiny stuff. Everybody, the good people like shiny stuff. Bad, everybody likes to be where it's shining, right? So you're going to attract a lot of things. And the more attractive you become you become attractive by pouring into yourself. Your light shines, you look different, you get dope. You was already dope, you get doper, right? Like everything just starts to shine around you. So again, you're going to attract more of what I attracted this. I'm here because my energy attracted me on this podcast, right? But when you attract something or someone you don't want or desire, you're not responsible for that attraction, but you are responsible for putting that crap back, right? You are responsible for what you entertain. So things are going to come in. People are going to come in. When you're beautiful, everybody wants to be where the beauty is. Hold on to what feels good. Let go of the rest.
You definitely speak the facts, because not only are you shining, you also motivate other girls to shine. Like, you like have that support system within yourself, and you spread that support to other women, and you know, like encourage them as well. So like, absolutely, when you encourage like other women to love themselves, to treat themselves right, do you see like a change in their personal lives? Like, what's that one thing that's like, yo, you know what, my shininess has worked, and she's gonna shine too?
Let me tell you something about shining. It's not all glitz and glam. Right? It's not all rosy, because what I like to say is the wool has been pulled off your eyes, right? When you sleep, you're like, oh, you're just walking blind. You know, you're hitting whatever. But once you woke and you have full awareness of your thoughts and your energy, now you got to make real hard decisions. And if you continue to make the decisions you were making before, you struggle even more with self-doubt, self-esteem, and low confidence, because you know better. Because you know better.
I got a question real quick. So we was talking about toxic, right? So I want to go back a little bit to what you said. So you said you were in a sneaky link while you were in a relationship.
Yeah.
You consider that a red flag?
Absolutely. I was the red flag. I was the red flag. But see, people saw my red flag. Somebody said I saw a red flag. I thought it was carnival. I was carnival, right?
Light shining and putting.
Yeah. And the thing is, I know that the people that I dealt with, you know, like I said, I would tell them, like, you already know what it is. That should immediately be a red flag. Like, why would you want to deal with someone who treats you like a side? Like, right? But they didn't care, right? Because we all only knew toxic. So we were toxic together, right?
Where do you think you learned toxic from?
I was toxic because of low confidence, right? And I was toxic because I didn't love myself. So I was just doing me. Like in my mind, like, this is what you do. The boys like you, my milkshake, bring the boys to the yard, shake it, right? So I was not capable of saying at that time in my life, you're better than this. You're worth more than what you're accepting for yourself. And because of my own toxic energy, I spread toxicity. And that's something people don't want to admit. People want, oh, no, it was him. No, you toxic too. Because listen, a toxic relationship requires two toxic people. Okay? When you're healthy, you see toxic and be, nah, boo-boo, not me and you.
Today.
You ain't it. When you're healthy, when you're toxic, you welcome what looks like you, right? And that's something to be, so when people come to me like, oh, no, I don't want to hear that, girl, you toxic.
Otherwise, you wouldn't be in this situation.
No, and that's why people tell me I ain't gonna call Carmen because I don't have time to cry today. Because Carmen's not gonna sugarcoat nothing for you. You are toxic.
You're gonna tell them what they need to hear,
What
not
you
what
need
they
to
wanna
hear. That's it. That's it. I'm not here to be your confidant. Tell you, girl, you gonna get through it. No, you not. As long as you stay there, you gonna be right there. And if you like it, I love it. Period.
How do you have those, like, because that sounds like a crucial conversation to have with somebody else, especially when they're like in a position where they're not, first and foremost, if they're not even able to hear it from themselves, how they're able to hear it from anybody else, and not only hear it from anybody else, but actually do anything with that information. How do you like have those conversations in a way where it's not just being heard, but it's like, obviously you can't control whether or not they apply it, and it's not for you to do so, but like to make sure at least you're definitely being heard at the very least. How do you have those types of conversations? Well,
one, I know I'm being heard, right? Because that's why they call me. And the thing is every time they call me, they hang up crying. But you knew what was going to happen when you called me, right? At the end of the day, I always say, you're not ready. Right now, it's not hurting enough. But my question always is, how much more hurt do you need? Right? Some people don't move because the pain isn't painful enough. To me, pain is pain. And if it hurts, I'm out. Right? But some people are waiting for tragedy to move.
Yeah.
Right? And you do not have to wait for tragedy to make a shift in your life. You don't have to wait until you have a black eye. You don't have to wait until a person almost kills you. You don't have to wait until you get an STD. You don't have to wait for tragedy to make a shift. It's already painful. So you just have to know that you're worth more. And the greatest challenge is a lot of people are afraid to be alone. Baby, you already alone.
Yes.
And it's not just that, right? Because sometimes people walk different paths, and like there's different red flags and like severities to that. So speaking of different flags and severities and roses and etc., let's hop into a segment called Red Flags and Roses, or rather red flags. Is it a red flag or is it a rose? Because sometimes you confuse those two, both red. And, some people might like red flags. Some people might like red roses. Maybe
I told you they loved me. I was a red flag.
Maybe they want a combination of both. All right. So are you ready for this segment?
Sure.
All right. So the first question or statement is, you only talk on Snapchat or vanish mode?
Red flag.
Not introducing you to their kids after a year of dating.
Yeah.
Personal experience or not?
It could go because... It It depends on the parenting situation, right? You and that other parent may have made an agreement like, hey, we're going to take a while before we introduce our kids to other people, unless you know that's someone that you're really going to spend your life with. I'd rather you didn't bring new people into our children's lives. So children are a tough topic because children are very vulnerable and they require protection. And it's really important that you're mindful about the energy you bring around your children. I have children and grandchildren, right? And I'm very mindful about the energy I introduce to my babies. So that one, that could be in between.
All right, what if they control what you wear, have something to say all the time?
Oh, no, be red flag.
If they act differently in front of their friends.
Red flag.
They compare you to their ex?
Red flag.
It says all their exes are crazy.
Red flag.
Ooh, what if they want to like spend every day?
Red flag.
Oh, all right.
What if they're asking you to share your location for safety?
Oh, yeah, that's a roast. Everybody in my family is required to share their location with me. This world is crazy. And if that's my man, yeah, we gonna share.
Yeah.
We gonna share location for sure. So yeah, I'm with that.
What if they send you lovely, dovely, good morning texts every day, constantly? Yes,
That's a tough one. It's on the phone. It's not a big deal to me. Like, as long as it's not an insecure text. You know what I mean? Like, you can tell when someone's just sending text out of insecurity. I just need her to know you don't got to think about me. I'm thinking about me. We're good.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, there's only one time to send a good morning text, right? Like,
so
imagine them sending the good morning text in the evening.
Right.
It's like the afternoon.
You we got special people in the world.
That's real, yes. What if they're willing to wait?
Oh yeah, that's a rose. I'm worth waiting for.
But what if they like rush things and like just after 1 month of dating, they're like on their knees saying, "I love you," like you're the one.
Red flag. You gotta go.
Okay.
Wait.
I shouldn't say that because you know what? I know people who have dated for a few weeks, got married, and have beautiful marriages. I think it depends on the person. For me, I need a little more time. Right? I've lived a life, so I need time, to really get to know people. So after a month and I love you and you're the one. No, baby, it's been 4 weeks. It's been 4 weeks. So for me, I definitely need a little more time. But I'm not gonna say it's a red flag. It could be in between. Depends on the person.
Do you believe in the concept of like twin flames, soulmates?
What that mean?
Like, the energy is so there. It's like you believe they're your twin from another life or whatever. It's like
God sent them for you.
You know what?
Exactly.
I can't say yes or no because I have not experienced it, and I don't want to knock other people's twin flames. So I don't want to weigh in on whether or not, because it could happen.
Absolutely.
God can send me my God, but that I've been waiting for you. So
I was waiting for you.
Yeah, where you been, brother?
I feel like, the most interesting ones are the ones like the twin flames that were always right there next to you and you didn't even know.
Yeah.
Didn't even know.
The one you call bro and sis.
Not even, sometimes I've seen situations where it's like, I hate your guts. Like, how?
I've seen it.
20 years later, oh my God, we have a beautiful house.
Yes.
We're in Miami with the we
Yes.
got kids and everything. It's like 20 years later, like earlier. What?
I've seen it. I've seen that.
Yes.
Hey,
yeah.
but you know what else? It can get dangerous because you ever heard the term of like love bombing or like
Of course, yeah.
disguising themselves as your twin flame, like pretending to be the one, and then later like turns out they're just a rat and they're just like super toxic.
But the thing is when you are healthy, you see that, right? I remember I kind of said it earlier, like you recognize unhealthy from a mile away. You know what I mean? And so when guys try to like love, I'm like, honey, that don't work on me.
Yeah.
I hate
catch me like that.
Yeah, boo boo, you ain't got to tell me that kind of stuff. That don't work on me. So when people are just like trying to lay it on thick, and it's like, that's a sign of insecurity in my eyes. I don't need that extra stuff. Just be yourself. My thing is, don't do something you can't keep up forever. Right? And so you got to give people time to take the mask off, right? Because when you first meet people, they have on that mask, their representative shows up. So you got to give them time to get comfortable and let their representative take a nap. Then you swoop in and be like, oh, gotcha. You ain't it. Peace.
I feel like that's also an interesting concept in terms of like, how can somebody play as the twin flame type of situation? Like, but then I get it, because we go back to like Krishan and Blueface, and it's like, maybe they do think that they're twin flames. Maybe, you know what? Maybe toxicity kind of finds each other, its way together in a sense, and it's kind of like they do need each other to figure out, oh, like my dependency needs you, but my independency definitely doesn't, if that makes any kind of sense. Let me probably rephrase that. Like, the part of me that's definitely hurt sees a savior in you, but it also is an opportunity that God is allowing me to realize, if I allow myself the opportunity to do so, that equally the reason why I'm like I'm with you is the reason why I shouldn't be with you at all. Like, that reflection, that duality in that. So it's like, it's really interesting. Like, healthy people see it right through, but I don't want to say unhealthy people.
Well, it's trauma bonding, right?
Yes.
It's trauma bonding.
Yes.
When someone, you know, it could be neglect, abuse, when people have gone through things that have really crushed their soul, and discover someone who gives them something that they never had or always longed for, immediately you latch on to it. Even if that person is using that as a way to kind of trick you, right? Because they're manipulators. But in the reality, we all become manipulators, because now I'm performing for your love, you're performing for my attention, and we're just all lying to each other.
Man, we just hurt.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm finding in you something that's like amazing, and it's like, damn, I got to trick you to get it. But at the same exact time, like, it's that part. It's like, it all exists within yourself.
The key is to find it in yourself, baby. Find it. There's so much in here.
Yes.
People be mad. People, no, I'm busy. I'm with me. Like, you know, I go on solo dates every month. I spend intentional quality time alone every single day, because there's so much in here that I just want to tap into it as often as possible.
You know what? I've definitely learned something new. You're the key. I'm the key. You're the key. Nick, you're the key. Like, everybody here is the key. I feel like if you're in an unhealthy relationship now, I hope you've learned something from this podcast. Thank you, Carmen, for being on this show.
Thank
Red
you.
Flags and
It's
Roses.
an honor.
If you were a red flag and felt offended by anyway,
Go heal, baby.
Check in with yourself.
Check in with
hopefully
yourself.
you've learned something, and we'll catch you on the next episode.
Skadeosh.